What is going on, guys? MG2005 again here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the high-grade after quality Gundam Deathscythe from New Mobile Report Gundam Wing. Now finally, after 26 years since the last one, we finally have another model kit of the TV version of the Gundam Deathscythe, and I have to be lying if I didn't say that Bandai nailed this to the very last millimeter, just because the proportions are basically spot on. Now, it does deviate a little bit from the line art because the latter is a little bit chunkier. However, I do prefer the leaner aesthetic that the kit has, just so it evokes more of an assassin vibe. It has to be nimble, so it has to have leaner aesthetics to effectively assassinate its enemies. Now, color-wise, the colors of the Deathscythe is basically spot on to the line art. However, the yellow and gray deviate a little bit from the original line art because the yellow is supposed to be a little bit lighter and the gray is supposed to be a little bit of a brownish gray. However, I did check these anime for some shots and they are in this exact shade, so the colors are anime accurate to some sense. Speaking of the color separation is absolutely phenomenal because the only stickers that you get are the eyes, the sensors on the front and the back of the head, and the V on the crotch, which is basically a joke for high grades now. But everything else that you see are made up of plastic pieces. So yes, the yellow trim over here, the color separated vents over here, and the vents over here, and yeah, a lot of small details have been color separated. Not that there is much, but the shoulders are what really surprised me on the body. Now there are some painting apps that need to be applied for yourselves. For example, the vents over here in the jammers over here, you need to paint the insides of the vents. Of course, you need to paint in the gaps between the vents over here black, just because this does look a little bit dodgy. And of course, the circles over here on the feet. So that's all that needs to be painted. But overall, this kit just has amazing color separation. However, there are still some seam lines scattered around the body just because of its simplicity. For example, the one running right down the head, the one running right across the chest over here, and you do have some rather obvious ones on the back of the legs. So you do need to touch up on those seam lines to make it look absolutely impeccable. But for what it is outside of the box, it is just remarkable, especially for the price. However, the heavy arm still holds the crown for having the heaviest arms among the original Operation Meteor Gundams. Articulation wise, this kit is no slouch either, starting us off with the double ball jointed head, and of course you can achieve the chicken neck. Rotation is a little bit impeded due to the color design over here because, you know, the machine cannons, so that's why I guess it's left out of the EW version, but you still can force a 360 rotation. The arms over here, they can pop out very far so as to hold the scythe more dynamically, and of course they can rotate and have a ball joint at the shoulder. Now the arms can go out that far by default, which is not much, so that is why Bandai implemented a duct ball mechanic, so you can shift the thrusters in to the shoulders to provide it with more space for more outwards movement. So overall, it's not necessarily perpendicular, but you can still get the arm to go out pretty far. It rotates above the elbow, and of course, since it is using a derivative of the Sandrock's frame, you can still get a pretty nice double jointed 135 bend. And of course, the wrists are on ball joints as per usual. They are pretty solid in there, so you don't need to worry about them falling out or going out of position. Now the stomach over here doesn't have anything at all, but the waist, you can rotate it, and if you pull it up a little bit, you can still pull off a little bit of a crunch, so that's pretty nice. Front skirts can be separated without any ill effects. Side skirts are on universal polycaps. The back skirts are on the Sandrock's frame, so you can of course shift it up, and the entire body can be shifted frontwards to pull the back skirt along with it. Now the legs over here does not have the funky dance nor the forwards and back, but you do get the sliding joints over here from the other Gundam Wing kits ever since the Sandrock. So yeah, the Deathscythe can use this joint to the fullest extent to give off some more dynamic posing. And the legs over here, they can go forwards that far, backwards basically all the way, out to the side not necessarily all the way, but it's close enough to the full splits. They can rotate at the hip, and a double jointed knee which cannot bend as far as you expected. However, there is a third joint in the knee over here, so if you just grab the kneecap and just execute the bend, Now you have a third joint down here. So all in all, the triple jointed knee can provide you with an exceptional bend. However, the lower joint is a little bit hard to get the hang of, so you gotta be careful with it. It basically locks the knee armor into these slits over here. Now the ankle armor over here is on the front ball joint, so it can bob about a little bit, and the feet can go forwards and back, side to side, rotate quite a bit, and the toe has a little bit of movement. And the hyperjammer nozzles over here can move forwards and back. They can hinge. Now the back thruster over here can only move side to side. It's not much, but it's something. So all in all, articulation on the Gundam Deathscythe is absolutely phenomenal. I really do like the little mechanics that they've implemented into the little body of this in order to achieve more articulation. So all in all, the Gundam Deathscythe not only has good articulation, it also has amazing mechanics to allow for even more articulation. Accessory wise, this thing doesn't come with much. First of all, let's talk about the Buster shield over here. Nothing you see in front of you is made of stickers. Even the little detail on the shield is made of plastic pieces, which is nice enough as it is. But if you take a look at the underside, you can actually plug this thing onto an action base and actually have it away from the Gundam Deathscythe to simulate it actually launching the shield. And if that is not enough, the prongs over here are actually geared inside. So if you tuck one, the other will open. Now how you plug it onto the Deathscythe is pretty simple. Just plug it onto the hardpoint on the left arm. There is none on the right arm, so you cannot swap this over, unfortunately. To top it all off, you do also get the green beam effect that you basically plug into the shield like that. It does produce a clicking sound more often than not. And here you have it, the Gundam Deathscythe using the Buster shield. And finally, its iconic weapon, the Beam Scythe. Now, this is made up of 4 pieces over here, including the movable beam emitter, which is very nice. I don't know why they removed it for the EW version, but it is what it is. At least you get to enjoy it more with this version over here. Now, you do get the long scythe effect parts for the standard scythe mode, which is very nice. You can now stick it into the manipulator and it does not cause any weight issues whatsoever, even in the normal holding hands. So as you can see here, it's not gravitating, so that means it can hold it absolutely no problem with one hand. Now you do also get a short one over here, which I've heard Duo actually using quite a bit, but it can also allow for the scythe to function as a naginata. So if you want to go martial arts with the Gundam Deathscythe, here you have it. And to top it all off, you do also get this shortened one for storage over here, but unfortunately the underside is completely hollow, so fill those in with putty because this side is going to face the front more often than not. So what you want to do with the shortened one is to stick it into the hole. It also acts really well both ways. You can just stick it in and have it stored like this. So that's a pretty good gimmick. However, yeah, you still need to see the hideous side in the front unless you store it upside down. Finally, you do get the variety of hands from the Sandrock's ring. You do get the thumbs up holding hands, which can, of course, work with the scythe. It does work just as well as the normal holding hands. And of course, you do get the rather relaxed versions of the open hands. So that is going to wrap it up for the accessories of the Gundam Deathscythe. For comparisons, first of all, let's bring in the Gundam Love Phantom to compare it, because it does also draw some cues from the Gundam Deathscythe. And finally, let's bring in every single one of the other Operation Meteor Gundams. Now, all we need in the market is a high-grade After Colony Shenlong Gundam in order to complete the initial 5 Operation Meteor Gundams. So Bandai, get on with it. Now for leftover parts, you only get a small amount that is left over from the Gundam Sandrock's plate. So I don't know what you're gonna do with these, but yeah, a small amount of leftover parts is better than an entire leftover sheet. So that's gonna wrap it up for my look on the high-grade Gundam Deathscythe. And what could I say? This thing is just a masterpiece, even right out of the box. Sure, it does have its own number of seam lines and unpainted color apps. However, the color separation is simply perfectly executed. The articulation is very good, especially with the little mechanics implemented into the shoulders and the legs for more articulation. The accessories are box standard, but they are well implemented, especially when it comes to the Buster shield. It also holds itself together really well. It has no problems holding up the scythe, and overall it's just a fun kit to mess around with, and I have absolutely no complaints with it. So I would give this kit a 10 out of 10. For the cheap price of 100 Hong Kong dollars, you can enjoy such a masterpiece of a kit and put your effort into it. This thing would just be impeccable. So that's gonna wrap it up for me. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you did like it, please be sure to drop a like, comment, and also subscribe for more Gunpla reviews, Gunpla news, and all that kind of stuff. Turn on notifications for future content alerts if you haven't, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.